everybody, this is Chris here. I'm an industrial designer at NextFab. I work on our product development team. Today, day 4 of quarantine, we're going to be taking on a little woodworking project that hopefully you can make at home. So here is my temporary home office right in my bedroom, and what we're actually going to be working on is one of these instrument hooks. We have a small hook that gets mounted to the wall. It's basically just a block of wood, and it has this little U-shaped rubberized hanger, something you'd see in like a garage or something. So we want to mount a new instrument that we got up here on the wall. So we're going to head on down to the basement and I'll show you how to do it. So for project, we're making this little instrument hanger. Pretty simple. We only really have a few things that we have to do. We need a little block of wood like this. We need the actual little U-shaped tool hook that we have here. The one I have is by Everbilt, and it's a screw-in tool holder. Yeah, so they're available at like Home Depot or any sort of store in like the garage section or whatever. But yeah, so a little rubberized U-shaped hook. A couple of other tools you're going to need. A cordless drill. This is Ryobi, super helpful tool. And then just some like measuring stuff like rulers and whatnot. Alright, so we got our little block of wood here. It's about 2 inches by 4 inches or so. So first thing we want to do is make some measurements. So I determined that I want this thing to be about 1 inch from the top, and then we're going to have 2 other holes that we're going to have to put in for our screws, and then these screws are going to anchor into the wall there. So it's just a standard drywall anchor, and then plain old block of wood. This is a piece of hickory. It was some leftover from the stairs I did in our house. So it'll look nice, it'll match the floor as well. So this is pre-finished. You're probably not going to be dealing with pre-finished wood, but I've pre-finished, so I can't really make any marks here, so I'm going to put some blue tape on it. Alright, so I'm just going to measure to get the center of this block first. Alright, and then just go ahead and mark it. I have a line to work with. Cool. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is mark 1 inch down from the top, and that's where this is getting mounted. And I figured that out pretty simply. I just, took the block of wood, set it down with the piece here, and, figured out where I wanted it to go. I used the instrument itself and kind of looked at it from the side. So you can do that. But you can pretty much assume that if you're about 1 inch from the top, it'll be fine. So I'm going to set my square to 1 inch. And I'm going to make my mark. And then for the screw holes, I'm going to basically just keep it symmetric. So the first screw hole is just going to come 1 inch from the bottom. And then the second screw hole, I'm just going to do it about center. I'm going to go a little bit lower than center, just because I think it'll look better. So I'm going to come 2 inches from the bottom. And like I said, this thing, it's a little bit more than 4 inches. It's about, like 4.5 inches. But this really doesn't matter. It's really whatever looks good for you. Cool. Alright, we got our holes marked out. The next thing we're going to do is drill some pilot holes for this hook here. So I'm going to get my bits. And what you're looking for here, because this thing has some teeth on it and you really want that to bite into the wood, so you don't want to drill a hole that's too big, but you want to look at it from the side and you want to be able to see the teeth poking out there. So I'm going to go with this guy. Cool. Make sure you got your eye protection on when you're doing any work down in the shop. And since I'm never going to see the back of this, I don't care if I drill all the way through it. So I have a piece of scrap sitting down here that I'm going to drill into. So we're going to get it started, and we're just going to make sure we're nice and square. Actually, I'm not going to be square. So I forgot, I decided I want to have this piece, rather than totally square, I'm going to actually tilt it up a little bit, and that'll just keep the instrument in a better position. I had been tinkering around with it before and I liked it that way, so it's just going to tilt up a little bit, not very noticeable. And again, I'm just doing this by eye, so I'm going to get in to the wood a little bit, and then I'm going to tilt this way. Got that. I'm just gonna. Yep, that fits good. I think that'll be fine. Alright, the next thing I want to do is drill some through holes for my screw. And these can be through holes because they're getting anchored into the wall. So actually, before I do the through holes, I'm going to drill some holes with a Forster bit. So I have these little plugs here, so it's just like a standard little wooden plug. You get them at Home Depot or wherever, and this is just going to conceal the screw after I put it into the wall. So I'm going to want to get a Forster bit that matches that plug hole, and it's probably about, yep, 3/8. So I have a 3/8 Forstner bit. If you don't have one of these, it's a good set to have in your shop in general, but if you don't have it, you could probably just use, you know, whatever bits you have lying around. And then this is going down about 1/8 of an inch. And again, I'm just eyeballing all this. It's not super important. And I'm doing this with the 2 bottom holes here. If you have a drill press, that would make this a lot easier and more consistent. Alright, that looks pretty good. I can get my tape off of here. So I'm just going to make sure, yeah, this plug will fit fine. Yeah, so you'll see it'll kind of finish that off so you won't see the screw holes, it'll look nicer. Alright, so we got those set up. The next thing we're going to do is the through hole for our screws. So for these, you don't want any of the thread sticking out, so you want to make sure you have the appropriate size so this screw will be able to fit right through without any issues. Alright, these are going to go all the way through. Try to get it as square as you can. another size, widen that hole a little bit more. Alright, and the second one. Cool. Alright. And then if you have any wood chips in there, you can clean it out. I'm just using a knife, but you can use whatever you have lying around. Alright. So that's pretty much it. The only thing you can do now, if you want to sand the corners, do any sort of edge treatment. I might hit this with my router and do a little round over around the whole thing, but you don't really need to do that. You can just come in with some sandpaper, knock off the edges so it's nice and smooth, and then really just attaching this U shape to your block. All right. Cool. And there you have it. That's it. This is our little ukulele holder. You can see how it's gonna work. We're just gonna be hanging our instrument there. Should look nice up in our room there. And we're gonna have a couple other how-to videos coming up as long as we're in quarantine. So hope you all are doing great, staying safe. I'll see you soon. Bye.